Story 1. I'm in. The lack of garlic is disappointing, but I'll manage. I'm not concerned about the sun, and if I need an invitation, I'll simply buy a house with my money and relax. Story 2. Hypothetically speaking, would I be restricted to consuming human blood as my only form of sustenance? Story 3. If I could accept the deal for a year and then withdraw while keeping the money, I would. Otherwise, this would just be a burden with few, if any, benefits. Story 4. The sun, garlic, and rivers are among my favorite things. I agree to avoid religious icons and pass otherwise. Story 5. Does having a job there count as being invited in? Is paying rent similar? Isn't a store that is open to the public essentially inviting you in? Story 6. Does sunscreen, sunglasses, or ultraviolet protective clothing circumvent that issue? Or does it magically penetrate any clothing worn? Story 7. I love how many people find garlic to be the deal breaker, rather than the magical sky orb that sustains all known life. Story 8. I live in a town with a predominantly Ukrainian heritage, so I will not accept the deal. Every meal would harm me. Story 9. You had me in the first half, not gonna lie. Asking people for invites is difficult. How am I supposed to go to work? Story 10. Garlic is a deal breaker. Not eating garlic can significantly shorten one's lifespan. No deal for me. Story 11. It depends on the invitation clause. Am I physically unable to enter any building without an invitation? Can I at least get into my own home? The sunlight limitation would be difficult for me, as I really enjoy warm places and being outside in the sun. However, for a price of $50,000 a day, that's an amount I'm willing to pay as long as I can enter my own home without an invitation. Story 12. I think I would do it. Most people work during daylight hours, especially during standard time, so you are really just losing daylight during the weekend, along with beach days if you live near the coast. Maybe you miss a wedding or 5. However, you still get to enjoy all your nighttime activities and can supplement vitamin D and calcium loss with pills. For $50,000 a day, take my daylight and my garlic. Take my morning and evening work commutes with it. Story 13. Depends. Does religious objects mean actual objects of religious importance? Or will my Bible from Walmart count? Story 14. I would take the deal, but I have one question. Am I someone's thrall? If so, it's not a deal breaker. Just keep Wesley Snipes away from me. Story 15. Take it. I am the woman for the job. I dislike religion, I dislike garlic, and my father calls me a vampire for a reason. I go out perhaps a handful of times a year, and I spent 6 months without even looking outside through the window. This is a walk in the park for me. Story 16. It's a silly question. I already do all of this except the $50,000 a day. I want to get paid. By the way, Benadryl helps with garlic. I still eat it. Story 17. After one day, you have enough money to travel anywhere, wearing whatever you want in first class. Choose the nicest hotel with the best amenities. Install LED windows for artificial sunlight, and spend every day for the rest of your life relaxing. You can be outside during the day, you just can't be in direct sunlight. This is so easy. Story 18. I am Asian, so avoiding the sun is a significant part of my life. Also, avoiding garlic will be tough, but Vietnamese, Japanese, and Buddhist vegetarian food are some of my favorites, so I think I can make it work. However, no Italian food will be the hardest for me. Story 19. Is it only Catholic religious objects? Or do I have to avoid symbols of my gods, like lyres and owls as well? Story 20. So basically, this is how I'm living now minus the $50,000 every day. Sounds like a great deal to me. I don't enjoy going out, and I can live in my house for the rest of my life without ever seeing the sun. I am not a religious person and do not care about religion, so this is perfect for me. Story 21. Yes, I will become a vampire. I don't go to places I'm not invited. Businesses have an implied invitation to the public. I'm not religious, and while at work, I barely get to be in the sun anyway. Story 22. If you can manage to live on $250,000 per year, you could invest $18 million annually. I would seize this opportunity in a heartbeat. Live an eccentric life to create relatively instant generational wealth without harming anyone, assuming I don't have to compromise my morals. But even that can be ethically sourced. Story 23. It's easy to get addicted to a massive multiplayer online game. Nobody will invite me anywhere, and I'll never see the sun anyway. My only worry is garlic being in my pizza crust. Story 24. I feel like this is an invitation to become a vampire. Too bad I love garlic and sunlight. I can't manage that, sorry. Story 25. As a translucent American, I'm already there with the sun. I don't enter places I'm not invited. I avoid religious topics in general. I would miss garlic. Sign me up. Story 26. Is there a time limit on the deal? Can I stop anytime I want? Can I follow a day on and day off schedule? I have many questions that need answers. Story 27. Wait. What? I can receive $50,000 every day for my life, but I have to endure sunlight burning my skin, require an invitation to enter any place, and avoid garlic and religious objects? This makes me feel like an even bigger fool and loser than I already am. Story 28. I would miss garlic a lot, but I think for $50,000 a day, I could find a substitute. The rest simply describes my life now. Story 29. I agree completely. I already prefer to stay outdoors at night, and having $50,000 a day would allow me to order delivery for anything I need. There would be some inconveniences like needing to meet someone, such as a realtor for buying a house after dark. But for that much money, I can manage. I'm hoping that public places would have an inherent invitation to them. It would be a bit annoying if I had to be invited to enter a store, but I could handle that, especially if any random person or a written invitation sufficed. Garlic would be unpleasant, but I could cope with it. I am exposed to very few religious objects, so that is not an issue. So yes, money would resolve most of the inconveniences. I would go for it and be a little disappointed that I would not experience the benefits of vampirism, but I suppose money is enough. Story 30. Well, I am an extremely pale redhead and an atheist, so I am already somewhat there. Not eating garlic would be absolutely depressing, though. Story 31. $50,000 a day would allow me to create a night golf course and my own hockey rink. Along with my house that has a pool, I think I'd be fine. I would just sleep during the day and enjoy the night. Story 32. It doesn't seem too bad. You can still go outside at night, visit a city like New York City where there are things open all night. During the day, you can sleep, play video games, and get some pets to pass the time. Story 33. As long as the garlic and sunlight issues aren't life-threatening, I'm all for it. Otherwise, I might forget and accidentally consume garlic bread. Story 34. I need to be invited to most places. Garlic makes it difficult, but earning $50,000 a day is substantial enough for me to get by. Story 35. Take the deal, then cancel it when I have enough money. If I can't cancel, I will use artificial sunlight and vitamin D supplements. Story 36. If you live in Korea, the part about avoiding garlic makes this challenge nearly impossible, considering most Korean dishes contain some form of garlic. Story 37. Take the deal and cancel it when I have enough money. If I can't cancel, I will use artificial sunlight and vitamin D supplements. Story 38. Can I wear a covering that hides my entire body from the sun? It seems I can live a mostly normal life as long as I have someone to invite me into buildings, with signs that say, "Everyone is invited," in front of places count as being invited. Story 39. Gosh, am I a vampire? If it's all right not to be under the sun for health reasons, then I'm good. I used to work night shifts, so that's no problem. I can handle garlic and I can still use onions, right? There are other spices as substitutes anyway, so I'm taking the deal. Story 40. This is my life as an atheist with lupus. I wish someone would pay me to have lupus instead of me accumulating medical bills. Sun exposure triggers flares and garlic boosts the immune system, but it is on the avoid list for lupus. I even embrace the vampire lifestyle by working nights at a blood center. Story 41. I can do this except for the garlic part, which would be difficult. I have photophobia and sensitive eyes, so I need to wear sunglasses throughout the day when going outside. Even in the evening, I wear them in the car as a passenger. My eyes tear and burn. This task wouldn't be too hard for me, as I usually start my day in the evening, aside from the garlic issue. Story 42. I work nights. I'm not particularly social, not religious, and I don't eat much garlic. So not much would change except I would have more money. Story 43. Don't threaten me with fun. Shade is healthier for human health and longevity. I can design a great house with beautiful shade with that money. Plus, I don't like to go out. I have nothing to lose. No one invites me anywhere. It's bold of you to assume that I have a social life. I have a weak sense of taste, thanks to my genetics. I can't differentiate the taste of garlic in the first place. No issue. I come from a strict Islamic family. Please keep religious objects away from me. I have had my fair share of misery in life. That's a favor. Story 44. My crush lives in a sunny state and practically collects religious objects. I'm not sure this would work well. Story 45. The first reason is that I do that anyway since I'm Irish and have already had melanoma once. The second reason is that it is common decency to be asked to be invited in. No more garlic pizza would be the hardest. I am agnostic, so avoiding religious objects is fine. I would become a vampire. Story 46. I like money, but I like living more. This kind of life won't be worth living. I absolutely need sunshine. Story 47. Browski just watched Sinners and immediately thought, I'd become a vampire if they paid well. That would significantly impact my current lifestyle, so no. Story 48. $50,000 per day? I could get a night-only job. Honestly, for that amount, I wouldn't need to work. I could just relax at night and make friends with people in the late night and third shift crowd. Story 49. I do all those things anyway. I'm paler than Casper on medication that makes me burn in a thunderstorm. I dislike all organized religion, and I cannot eat garlic with my ostomy. Where do I sign up? Story 50. I will do it. I am practically a vampire already. I am a fair-skinned ginger with gastroesophageal reflux disease. I work nights and I am a homebody. Story 51. I appreciate the offer, but I must decline. I like money. However, I only want to improve my life. This deal would make my life worse. Story 52. Hire someone for $1,000 a day under the same conditions and have them take the deal. Even if they only last a week, they earn $7,000, and I earn $343,000. Story 53. The sun almost burns my skin. I did not eat garlic until my mid-30s, and I am an atheist. You are not asking me to change much here. Story 54. Garlic powder for the win. With $50,000 a day, I'll build a fortress on a private island with an artificial sun, like I'm living in a luxury version of Squid Game. Story 55. So, basically a vampire. Sunlight is a difficult issue, but I would cover myself completely or use sunscreen everywhere. I can also become nocturnal, living in places like Utqiagvik in Alaska, where it is dark all winter long. I am already a strong atheist, so religious objects are quite easy for me. Garlic is somewhat miserable, but I can live without it. I rarely eat it anyway, maybe once every few months. Being invited to any place is a deal breaker for me. Places categorized on Google Maps are nearly everywhere, including Walmart and other everyday locations. I don't see much purpose in life if I have to be invited to every single place I go. This is only true for public places. If it's not, I would seriously consider and likely take the deal. Story 56. Sunlight already burns my skin, and I dislike religions for anything other than their cultural value, so I would relax. I love garlic, but even without taking exceptions with the sun, it is a good trade-off if it is not too extreme. Story 57. I never go anywhere since everything can be delivered. I avoid the sun and all things religious now. Garlic will be less enjoyable, but I can live without flavor. My culture is known for bland food. Story 58. Do I live forever? If so, does my pay increase with inflation? I do not want to worry about investing and becoming a financially responsible vampire. Story 59. I agree to start the process on February 1st, and I would likely finalize on April 30th, resulting in a total of $5.95 million or 4.5 million pounds, which is an amount I am very comfortable with. Story 60. No, I love garlic too much, and giving any individual $50,000 per day would absolutely skyrocket inflation. Story 61. Can I stop whenever I want? So I would do it for a good year, but I cannot go the rest of my life without garlic. Story 62. Sounds like my life. I live mostly at night. I never go where I am not wanted or invited. Religion. What is that? I do not keep garlic around because it is not good for dogs, and I share food with my puppies. Story 63. I really shouldn't eat garlic because it gives me headaches, and I already avoid religious objects in sunlight, so I am agreeable to participating. Story 64. My husband, the red-headed atheist who managed to get a sunburn on a cloudy winter day, would love this. Story 65. I work night security, so I feel safe. I do not have any friends, so I only go home and work, as well as for grocery shopping, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. My mom is severely allergic to garlic, so I cannot have any in the house, which works for me. I identify as a Satanist. Story 66. So, a vampire but without the immortality or having to kill people. For $50,000 a day. Hell yeah. I'm basically a shut-in anyway. Story 67. Buy a tanning bed and a natural light that convinces my brain that I am actually getting sunlight. Then do whatever I want or need. Story 68. If I break the rules, do I die? Or does the deal just end? Sorry, is it direct sunlight? Can I be in a sunlit room? I'm taking the deal. I'm just curious how inconvenienced I will be. Story 69. How direct does the sun have to be to cause a burn? Can I just use umbrellas? Or should I block it out with curtains all day? Story 70. I would find the heads of 3 Glemeril witches and undo the curse. It will be easy. After that, I will start working on heavy armor. Story 71. Yes, I would use the money to completely defund career politicians. I would then invest in judges with proven equitable track records. I would work behind the scenes to make the world a better place, and when I am satisfied with the changes, I would celebrate the positive outcomes. Story 72. I mostly live my current life without visiting people's homes or going anywhere unless necessary. I cannot be in contact with garlic because my body does not tolerate it. The sun is too hot for me to be around. I would have a valid excuse to continue avoiding religion. Story 73. Well, I am already doing 50% of that, and while garlic is nice, it's not as appealing as not having $50,000. So I'm in. Story 74. I primarily work night shifts. During my time off, I stay up later and wake up around 1 or 2 p.m. I have a full closet of high-end sun protective clothing, including gloves and a complete facial covering. I am consulting with several medical specialists to diagnose me with extreme sensitivity to sunlight, specifically xeroderma pigmentosum, and I might be eligible for disability benefits as well. Story 75. I am in. I have vitiligo and tend to stay out of the sun as much as I can. I do love garlic, but I could live without it. Story 76. I'm already very pale with stomach issues and trauma from being raised in a Catholic environment, so the only thing that would change is that I would be getting paid for it. Additionally, I think it is somewhat rude to go places uninvited. Shouldn't everyone already understand that they should not enter private property without an invitation? Story 77. Great. Now you have me contemplating whether I am a vampire. I burn easily, always worry about being a bother when showing up uninvited. I don't like garlic and I avoid conversations about religion. So I guess I will take it. Story 78. I could easily do a year. Anything I want or need can be delivered to me, and I prefer going for walks at night. No garlic would be disappointing, but just think how amazing that first piece of garlic bread would be with $18 million stacked next to you. Story 79. The absence of garlic would be disappointing, but why not a complete adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula? The blood is the life. Story 80. Unfortunately, I have to decline. I often joke that I'm like a plant or a person with dementia. I believe it's a combination of seasonal depression and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But when the sun goes down, I stop working. I feel sad, restless, tired, stressed, distracted, bored, and uninspired. When the sun comes up, I suddenly feel like myself again. I have to plan my daily routine around this. I genuinely feel a decline when the sun goes down. Story 81. The garlic would be a little tricky, but I would figure it out. I dislike the sun. All my friends feel the same way. Story 82. I will take the money and stay home every day looking at Reddit and TikTok like I always do. But now I will get paid for it. Story 83. Absolutely. My question, though, would be when I'm done, can I go back to regular life or is it forever? Story 84. I walk into a party in a rural area of Mississippi. However, I will probably move to a big city with a vibrant nightlife and tell any potential friends that I work late. Story 85. So basically, I'm a wealthy vampire. I'll take the $50,000 a day, build an underground mansion, and have food delivered my way through eternity. I just need to make friends who remember to invite me in before movie night. Story 86. $50,000 a day is enough for anyone. The real question is how long the salary can last before people actually start saying no. Story 87. It seems too easy. I live like this most days. I see the sun, but I am rarely in it. I dislike the other two things. Story 88. Is indirect sunlight not allowed either? I mean, just shining through the windows. Nevertheless, being a vampire and getting paid for this doesn't sound too bad. However, it could become very boring after a few decades. Story 89. I am more of a night owl, so going outside only during the night in the moonlight is easy enough. Does the must be invited in rule apply to grocery stores too? If so, my spouse can handle the grocery shopping. Everything else is managed since I don't go out. Garlic is nice, but I can live without it. I haven't been to church in years, and people aren't exactly carrying around large amounts of religious objects daily or nightly, as I'm now out at night. Please give me my money. Story 90. I haven't left the house in 5 years and don't even open the curtains. I like the dark, and as an atheist, it's very easy without any religious artifacts or garlic. Please provide the money. Story 91. Being in a submarine is an experience that people engage in for considerably less than $50,000 per day, though they do receive garlic, I suppose. Story 92. I already dislike garlic and religion, try to avoid the sun, and have had an obsession with vampires since kindergarten. I would accept this offer in a heartbeat. Story 93. No, I love garlic-infused foods too much. The other options are not appealing. I have pale skin, so the sun already dislikes me, and I am not religious. But you can take my garlic only from my cold, dead hands. Story 94. I think I would be okay with this. First of all, I have red hair, so sunshine is not really my friend. I work nights and have done so for my entire adult life. I'm not really trying to go anywhere except work and home, where I'm always welcome. My oldest child is the manager at a grocery store that also has a gas station, so once again, I'm frequently invited there as well. I'm not religious in any way, so I guess my only concern would be that I love garlic, but I need money more. I would probably do it since that's a lot of money per day. Story 95. I am a ginger, so I avoid the sun. I am an atheist, so avoiding religious objects is easy. I am 2 out of 3, so it's essentially avoiding garlic for $50,000 a day. I do love garlic, but I would give it up quickly for the money. Story 96. No deal. Despite all the downfalls of vampirism, apparently I do not gain immortality. $50,000 a day is a lot of money. Unless hyperinflation occurs, then it becomes useless. Story 97. Umbrella and sunscreen for the first one. I never go anywhere if I am not invited, and you will never see me in church. Story 98. I work the night shift and do not practice any religion. I can live without garlic. I do not have many friends, so I already need to be invited inside. Nobody is paying me anything. This is a pointless question. Story 99. I am a gamer. I rarely go into the sun voluntarily, avoid religious objects and topics in conversation, and I don't really go anywhere even when invited. I love garlic, and that part is challenging, but for $50,000 a day, I would take that deal. Although it states I have to avoid garlic, it does not necessarily have adverse effects like sunlight. Therefore, if I do not know garlic is an ingredient, I would still be fulfilling my obligations if I accidentally consumed it. Story 100. I have trigeminal neuralgia, which causes severe light sensitivity, so I spend most of my time indoors with my drapes closed. The medication I take completely suppresses my appetite, resulting in a very limited diet, and I avoid garlic. I rarely leave the house and usually only go out at night. I do not attend church. It's unfortunate that this situation feels unreal, as I genuinely qualify. Story 101. The same thing I do every day. I already have an allium allergy, sun sensitivity, and no interest in religious symbols. I always ask before entering a private residence. Now I get paid for it? That's great. Story 102. Only if that 50,000 adjusts for inflation over time. Otherwise, it will be less than minimum wage in about 3 years. Story 103. The only challenge would be the garlic, which is hard to avoid. I rarely used it directly in my cooking anyway. I much prefer shallots and onions from that family, if I have to. I'm in. Send me the 50,000 for today. Story 104. Do I get to drink human blood every night and then have wild parties with the undead? If not, no deal. Story 105. I could move my bed and computer to the basement or install blackout curtains. I love nature, but it would be too much money to pass up, even if I had to forego eating garlic. I am not sure how I would manage getting to the doctor's office since I live in the country. Story 106. Add the additional clause of not being seen in the mirror, silver burning upon touch, and of course being impossible to look at, having to consume blood to satisfy myself. I would still do it for $5,000 a month. Story 107. I am excited about the opportunities ahead. Step aside, well-adjusted citizens. A wealthy individual is coming through. Story 108. The number of comments is declining due to the lack of garlic rather than the lack of sunlight, which is quite revealing about who is active on Reddit. Story 109. If I am offered this payment every day, there will be days when I say yes and days when I say no. Staying inside 2 days a week would allow me to find a much nicer place to stay quickly. However, I will miss garlic. Story 110. I burn easily in the sun. I am allergic to garlic and onions. I am in hermit mode, so I need to be invited or forced to go anywhere. I am a vampire who is destined to be rich. Story 111. Meh. I haven't been in the sun a single day of my life. Not in the 244 years I've lived here. Do we receive back pay? Story 112. You are offering to pay people to be a vampire without the blood drinking and eternal life. That is interesting. Story 113. I am in. I prefer nighttime anyway. Sunblock is a lot of work. Being selective about places is already common. Garlic bread was nice while it lasted. I am not religious. Story 114. So I basically just keep living my shut-in agnostic lifestyle for $50,000 a day? But no garlic? Now that's a tough sell. Story 115. Oh, that's fine. As long as I don't have to drain people of blood and I'm allowed to take vitamin supplements. Story 116. Is this a daily deal? I would do it for about 10 days and then stop. I just need to pay the bills. I don't need a fortune. Story 117. If I cover my entire body in mirrored finished clothing and look out at the world through augmented reality goggles like MetaQuest or Apple Vision Pro, could I go outside and hike a mountain? Or would that not count as avoiding sunlight? Would I need to be invited to the mountain? If I paid someone to invite me somewhere, would it count? Does the person who invites me have to have the authority to do so? Or can it be anyone? What happens if I see a cross on someone's tattoo or necklace? Should I run away from them? Or is the whole situation over? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.